Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be talking about MKLeo, who has re-cemented himself as the best player in the world. He always was the best, people just needed a reminder, and this win at Genesis definitely helped, where he used 4 characters. He used Rob, he used Byleth, he used Aegis, and he used Joker to great success at Scuff World Tour. We saw him use Marth. The point is, Leo's character pool is very deep. But despite this, there are some people and some matchups that he still does struggle against. I'd say 2 of the bigger ones are Proto Bonham and Esam, but Proto is on a break right now, and Esam isn't really reaching the parts of bracket where Leo has to worry about him. Now, that is a big emphasis because, Proto could come back, Esam could, figure out his consistency issues, and they could both get to face him, and then he'd have to worry about him. But for now, Leo's biggest problem is going to be Tweak. Gluttony is also contender, but I'd say Tweak is mainly his thing because Aegis was used a lot versus Gluto, and I imagine it would be Joker and Wario instead, so I think that might change the next time they play. But Tweak, we've seen him use Byleth, we've seen him use Aegis, and we've seen him use Joker, and none of them have worked. So in today's video, we're going to figure out which matchup of the characters that Leo has played would be the best versus Tweak, what matchups should maybe Tweak go to counteract those, their matchups in the past, all that kind of good stuff. Just basically is Leo going to have Tweak as a demon for a while now, or is it going to be something that he can figure out very quickly? He might even be able to have it with the characters he already has. We're going to talk about all today. Let's get right into it. Now, this is a list of characters that Leo has played throughout Ultimate. We have Ike, Byleth, Joker, Corrin, Marth, Rob, Aegis, Lucina, Wolf, Kazuya, Greninja. Now, Wolf, Kazuya, Greninja, he hasn't used that much. Kazuya's only been in a local setting. Wolf was right at the start of the game, and Greninja was more online, to be honest. So I'm going to be eliminating those, but I thought they should be a honorable mention. They could be considered Leo characters, but I'm not going to for the sake of this video. And we have our characters here. Now, there's a couple that we can get rid of right away. The first one is going to be Ike. Ike Diddy Kong is terrible, and Ike is a terrible character. And now the next one would normally be Marth, but since it is Leo, we will keep him in for now. Big emphasis on for now, because I don't want to get your hopes up. It's probably not going to be Marth, but maybe I'll change my mind after we look at the matchup spread more. But these are the general characters that Leo's had the most success with. The one that's probably the most out of practice is Lucina. We haven't seen him play Lucina in a very long time, but also Lucina is definitely a character that you can just kind of pick it up and go with it. So let's take a look at the Diddy Kong matchup chart. Really quickly before we talk about Diddy, I do want to talk about Tweak's secondaries because they are something that you have to consider versus him because they are incredibly strong. Sephiroth is going to be the main one. That is definitely his secondary, but you could see tertiary characters like Wario, like PT, like Wolf. I doubt it that they'd come out, especially versus Leo, but it's not an impossibility. I do think that Joker would probably do the best versus all those characters, and Joker also does very well versus Sephiroth. So for Tweak's matchups, besides Tweak, Sephiroth does very well for Leo. So if this matchup were to happen, it would probably be Diddy Kong versus whatever character that Leo chooses. Thought I should mention that though, but actually the Diddy Kong matchup chart. Now this is a matchup chart from Tweak, and I do have to say it is a little bit outdated. It was made around 2020, I think in December or so. It's pretty old, but I still think a lot of the points are valid, especially for the matchups that we consider. But let's say a couple tiers are moved around. The only ones that would even be would be Lucina, Marth, Joker, and Rob. If you moved everyone down one, and I don't think any of those characters do particularly well versus Diddy, maybe I could see Joker and even, but I think the rest of them Diddy does win against because Diddy's meta has been pushed a lot further. So right away, this is not great for Leo. All of his characters are in losing, and that is not a sign that you want, especially when you want to pick a secondary. And it's weird that Leo has so many characters, but all of them do well against his Diddy. But that's because Leo plays certain archetypes. Leo plays spacing swordies that are really good, and he's amazing with them. Every single sword character Leo is very strong with. And then he also plays Rob, which is kind of out of left field, and it just so happens that Rob also loses to Diddy. So honestly, just a little unlucky there, but Diddy Kong does very well versus sword archetypes because of Monkey Flip. Monkey Flip is incredible versus swords because it allows you to play outside of their burst range and get into them very quickly with a command grab that is unreactable because Monkey Flip is incredibly stupid. And then Diddy still has his normal stuff of very good combos, very good at a shield game, all that kind of shenanigans. But Diddy does very well versus swords, and for Leo, that's not something you'd like to hear because, he is the king of swords. So the only matchups that he's even played of characters that might be in his favor are Greninja is in the even tier. Again, haven't really seen the Greninja since online play, and then the Wolf, but I think the last time we saw the Wolf was at Pound 2019, which is a pretty long time ago, so I doubt we'd ever see that. Not an impossibility though, but looking at this chart here, it doesn't really help us a ton because we're still kind of stuck. All these characters don't do amazing versus Diddy, so now we just kind of have to pick off their play styles. So looking at their actual head-to-head, it is in Leo's favor still, and he has most of his wins with Joker. He has 8 wins with Joker and 2 wins with Byleth at the same tournament. And then Tweak has 6 wins with Diddy and 2 wins with Wario at the same tournament. It also has DK on here, but trust me, he didn't win with DK in that set at all. But so for the most part, it's going to be Leo favored with Joker and Tweak favored with Diddy. But what's really interesting to me is going to be this matchup at Let's Make Big Moves, because this was supposed to be Leo's triumphant comeback. He's supposed to destroy everyone. He's been using the Joker. He hasn't been using it for a while. It's supposed to make that big comeback. It's a demon for Tweak. It's probably the worst matchup he has in this game. But then, Tweak won, which is a pretty big deal. Now, there are a couple things to consider. One, Tweak didn't play against Tweak's Diddy didn't play against the Leo Joker. That is a massive factor. Maybe adaptation will come in. But two, and the main point of this video is going to be which characters Leo has picked up since he last started losing to Tweak. Because he hasn't tried the Marth, he hasn't tried the Rob, and he hasn't tried the Corrin. So we're going to talk about those 3 characters and which is the best of them. First character we're going to eliminate, and I think a lot of people will probably see this coming, is going to be the Rob. Not because Leo's Rob is bad. Well, it is compared to other Robs. Leo's just better than other Rob players, but Leo doesn't have the insane gyro tech. He doesn't have any of these insane 0 to death stuff. He doesn't just have that down on pack. Not saying he couldn't. He could obviously very easily probably figure it out, get all that stuff down, because he's amazing and his adaptation is very, very quick. He learns insanely fast. It's actually unreal, but he doesn't quite have that yet, and I don't think it's worth his time to invest into that, especially considering that Tweak has a 8-0 record versus Wadi. I think he has a 3-0 record versus MK Big Boss. And I think he has a 2-1 record versus Zomba, which is pretty insane. He only lost this one at a local. So Tweak is amazing versus Rob as well as Diddy Kong, but I would highly recommend that if you have a choice to not play Diddy Kong Rob against Tweak, then you should take it. I don't think that's something wise to counterpick into. He's also positive versus Anathema, and Anathema almost did take that set, granted, but Tweak did still close it out. So I think picking Rob against Tweak wouldn't be necessarily a mistake you can't win, but I think out of Leo's character pool, it's probably the worst one that we have left. So for the other 2 characters of Marth and Corrin, there's not nearly as much information. The only info we have is that he is up 1-0 versus Shattuck, where he 3-0'd him at the Big House, and that was fairly dominant from Tweak. And then he has no information versus Marth, at least that I could find. Maybe he has a set versus a smaller Marth player. Maybe he's played Ignaze and I just missed it. Let me check. He has not. So I don't have any information for him versus the Marth. I don't think Marth would be the pick, though, just because, again, character is incredibly inconsistent. And versus Tweak, if you let him live, you are going to regret it, because not only does he explode you, his longevity is incredible. He's a very, very slippery player. It's really hard to hit him. And in last stock situations, especially against Tweak with a banana, I really don't want to play that, and Marth is going to be struggling against that a lot. So I am going to eliminate Marth, but I will keep Corrin in the conversation just because I think Corrin has a little bit of a chance versus Tweak, and we will get into that right now. Now, spoilers, Corrin is not going to be my final choice, but I do think she is a notable contender just because of her combo game. The other swordsmen don't really have that, and all the characters that Leo plays are mainly straight hit characters, except Joker, because Joker is very, very combo heavy. But against Tweak, it's really hard to hit him. He's an incredibly slippy player. It's very difficult to get within his burst range, and with Corrin, at least you can maximize the most out of every hit. Let's say you're playing, let's say even you're playing Byleth. If you hit Diddy, you're probably going to get 20, maybe 30% if you get a really good combo. With Corrin, you can get 50% extensions. Your stuff can just go for further. And I also think that Corrin's juggling against Diddy is way better than the other swordsmen because of how big her up air is. Corrin's up air is insane. That move is massive. It kills very early. It's frame 7. Just look how big this is. That is unreal, and I think that could be very good against monkey flip calls. I also think something to consider is that back air can be good for edge guarding. The nair can be lingering. The down air, I guess, if you can catch them off guard, can knock them out of barrels, which can be very strong. But also, if you're down airing someone with Corrin, you're probably just beating them anyway because you have that exact positioning read. So I don't think Corrin is the choice, but I do think she has some advantages that the other swordsmen don't quite have in that combo game, in that juggling game. The other swordsmen have juggling, but I just think Corrin's is very, very good, again, especially against Diddy because of how monkey flip works. So something to consider, but we're not going to be choosing Corrin. So we have our final 4 characters in Byleth, Joker, Lucina, and Aegis. Also for the matchup chart, Corrin is in strong advantage, so I might have just been lying about all the stuff that I thought Corrin was good at. I still agree with what I said, but maybe the other stuff is just way, way bad. I could see the disadvantage being bad, but we eliminated her anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And the next one we're going to eliminate is going to be Lucina. Now, I know that Tweak did lose to Proto Bottom the last time they played, but also that was a while ago. There is Min Min in there, and Proto's Lucina is different. There are certain players that play this game in a different way. Proto is one of them, and I don't think that Leo's Lucina would get ever close to being Proto's Lucina. It could arguably get to be better than Proto's Lucina. It could have stronger wins. It could be more consistent. Yada, yada, yada. It won't be like Proto's Lucina, and I think that certain playstyle versus Tweak is very, very strong. So I am going to eliminate Lucina. It's also just less in practice than the other 3. And then we have the kind of boring answer of Joker, Byleth, and Aegis. Which one of those do we pick? Now, the next character that we're going to be eliminating is going to be Aegis, because I think Tweak is really good at the Aegis matchup. Even though he has lost to Cosmos 2 times when they've played, and only time he's lost to Cosmos is in the Aegis matchup. I think this one's like really, really long time ago, so I don't really care about that one. And this one is going to be with no Diddy Kong, but his set versus Cosmos at Genesis was it was bad. He destroyed it. He very clearly knew the character, and he also destroyed Leo the last time he played Aegis at Ultimate Summit 5. That did not go to Leo's favor at all, and it's probably why he lost that set, to be honest, because the Byleth was still cooking pretty hard. Not that it would have been impossible for Tweak to reverse 3-0, obviously, but just putting it out there, the Aegis definitely did not help him, so we're probably going to be eliminating Aegis for this. And now, it's kind of the boring answer. It's between Joker and Byleth. Who could have seen it coming, but who is the number one? And my final decision between the Byleth and the Joker, and you can call me crazy for this, I think it's Joker. Now, I hear what you're saying. Leo playing Joker, it would never work. Insane, preposterous, but hear me out. Gun. Gun is stupid. Now, I went on a bit of a gun rant. To save you from that, I'll just say the TLDR of gun is you could just shoot Diddy Kong in the face off stage instead of using up gun or down gun. I think that's probably better, just fastball, shoot him in the head, because it's really, really quick. It doesn't put you into any end lag, so you can get back like at the same time as Diddy Kong, which is very nice. And then, like, you're not going to have the center stage against him. You're not going to have the lead trap, but I do think is an option that should be experimented a little more. I think Leo's gun usage at Let's Make Big Moves was good. I think it was way better at Genesis. Like, I think it got crazy better. And I do think Tweak is very good versus gun. Like, he shields it a lot of the time. Again, watching that Let's Make Big Moves sets, he was dealing with it very, very well, but it's still, you're getting a lot of chip damage, and I think out of all of Leo's character pool, Joker is the best option, but characters not in his current character pool, I think Wolf and Greninja are strong candidates, specifically Wolf because of how easy he is to pick up. Again, Wolf is an incredible character versus Diddy, one of the easiest secondaries in the game to have, and what's like your 6th or 7th secondary at this point? You're playing half the cast, you might as well add another one, and I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's a bit lame that we chose Joker, but I'm not going to lie, like, this is probably the best choice that Leo has. It's probably the matches that we'll see again. I'm curious to see if he takes it. I don't know who I'd even favor there because Leo's adaptation is incredible, but Tweak's dominance is pretty hard to ignore. So very excited for this next matchup. I hope you guys are as well. Sport's been absolutely unreal lately. Thank you guys for everything. If you have any video ideas or video ideas, please leave them down below. I always read the comments. You guys are the best, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.